The first pick coming out for Nova. This is so characteristic of Nova. You know, Starboy loves to play this as the captain, and Delphi's more than happy to take it into the jungle. Taking away the Celeste and the Black Feather, though, definitely focusing on different hero pools, not just those of the captains.
Yeah, and they didn't feel the need to either pick or ban Lyra because Catherine was already picked up, so you can just let her through. She's not going to be too hurtful. If anything, you can pick her up and play Baptiste in the jungle if you wanted to. Glaive, that's probably going to be hammy on Glaive in lane. It's one of his strongest characters too. He can apply a lot of pressure in lane and in mid game. If they get a slight lead, you'll see him bursting people down very quickly.
And I'm a little bit surprised by this draft moves actually really quickly. Jewel Rhyme. Oh man, I guess it's a variation of the triple stun, but that is a very different composition from anything that we would have expected.
I mean, Jewel is actually one of the characters that we forgot to talk about because this is one of the characters that have seen a lot more play in 2.8, especially on the European side, but we see her here in North America too. She has a very high burst damage, and she's very strong in lane pressure.
Let's talk about the fact that this is likely going to be a weapon-powered duel going towards the lane as well. Rhyme is basically only ever CP jungle, right? So the only other time we've really seen this was Best Chuck last season. And can I just point out, he played it, what, 3-4 times? And annihilated every single game it was played. Obviously, it's not Best Chuck playing it here today, but we've seen the potential of this pick and how much you can dominate a game if you take a small lead. And small leads have been kind of the story of today, just picking it up and managing to snowball that.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see who it's going to be up against. With the Sky and Glaive, both of those two can go either lane or jungle. I kind of expect it to be a Crystal Sky just because you have a Glaive, unless they're going to run the double weapon composition, which could come out here. Although I don't really agree with doing it against a Rhyme who can build so tanky.
All right, Zoro, very, very quickly, what do you make of this duel pick?
I think it's going to work great with the Catherine. I think Rong will probably take this one unless that Glaive pick ends up coming through really strongly.
All right, well, we'll see if that's going to happen. Hashtag Vainglory on Twitter. Let us know who you are supporting, but it's time to pass it over to our casters. Once again, Excoundrel and Humanist, take it away.
Well, thank you very much, Munchbles. And that's right, we are live, loaded into the game, ready to go here. And Excoundrel, we have a Jewel on the fold. I am very excited about this.
We have a Jewel, a Rhyme, and a Catherine. That's a really interesting composition. Very burst heavy if you can land that stun or a root onto somebody. Truth is on the Sky here. They've already caught out Evo very early on.
Evil taking a whole bunch of damage, just sitting on that healing flask. If he's able to get that off before he actually dies and the healing can come through, he can sustain himself, stay out there on the fold pretty well. Actually, the Iron Guard contract doing work for them as they move forward. Starboy is going to have to be careful, just throwing out his bad mojos, keeping a very nice range. But yeah, you can see Truth feeling pretty good on the Sky. I'm excited to see what he can accomplish here.
Yeah, I'm assuming it's going to be CP, because if it's a CP Sky that scales into the late game, if Truth plays well, this should be Nova's game. Wait a second, though.
It should be. Elder Treant's going to go the way of Rogue, and now the chase is on. It's going to be Rocket Leap forward. They stun up on to the Baptiste there, coming through with the Thunder Strike. Starboy just healing himself up. Healing Flask is pretty good.
I feel like the majority of this composition is going to hinge on Truth on this this Sky, but obviously we know how good Starboy is on this Baptiste. Starboy kind of popularized the Echo and kind of made it a bit more of a regular item. He kind of brought it for the very first time out, I think, in the VGA on this Baptiste especially, and it was something that we saw him play quite frequently before. The Echo was kind of like a staple item for a lot of these captain players. So a lot of disengage coming out from Baptiste, and a triple melee composition is going to be vulnerable to a double Baptiste ultimate, especially, if they block the first one, you've still got to worry about the second one. They're all going to be within range of it. They're all going to be getting it full force, especially if they're trying to barrel onto one target. So keep your eye on Starboy. His disengage potential could be very strong this game, and then we'll have to see how Truth performs from that point forward. But again, majority of this late game is going to come from Truth.
Whoa. Evil taking too much damage, knocked back by Lone Delphi, and first blood to Nova. A very clean play. And to your point about Starboy and these Fearsome Shades, double Fearsome Shades coming out, I think that it's going to be clutch, crucial for them, because Hammy will be able to blow this Sky up once he gets into the late game here. Actually, Lone Delphi, the Ordained is down. Delphi's going to move in with the Afterburn. The Rocket Leap's going to come through. He's stunned up, was able to reposition himself there. That was a dangerous situation.
Yeah, but obviously if you Rocket Leap, you still break the Ordained, but you don't get stunned until the end of your animation. So you don't get stunned in the air, you actually complete your Rocket Leap animation, and you're able to then, or your Rocket Jump animation, you're able to then sort of be in the safety of your turret. So it's an ambitious move there. I think they were relying on Hammy not using that jump to get out of the Ordained and then looking for a good opportunity for the Afterburn, but I think, again, maybe a little bit too slow on the trigger there, and that allowed Hammy the escape. So a good move by Hammy to keep himself thoroughly safe and sound. He's sitting on a lot of gold right now. It is going to be the CP Sky, so Truth just taking the Weapon Blade early on. You do get a scaling on your forward barrage for slow if you've got a little bit of weapon power behind you. So he's maybe got a little bit of the slow in the early game that allowed him to take some favorable duels, but it also helps him with last hitting as well, obviously. Weapon power Sky favor, or any weapon power is going to help you with your basic attacks last hit also. But it is going to be the CP Sky. I imagine it's going to be a Frostburn CP Sky as well. It's going to be very good against almost every member of the rogue composition. So again, I like this very much from Truth.
Yeah, you're basically trolling yourself. A lot of times if you don't have a weapon blade on that Sky, trying to last hit in lane can be very difficult. The Sky should do great into the Catherine, so I'm excited to see how that plays out. But the whole time, like, if he's able to actually be landing damage, it's because Starboy and Delphi are controlling this fight. If the Jewel's able to get on target, both the Batiste and the Sky are incredibly squishy targets. And I mean, I was actually very shocked that we haven't seen, even to go through the last few updates, too much Jewel. Because the burst damage that comes out of a weapon Jewel is insane.
I think if you play perfectly Humanist, playing Jewel relies on, for me, like, Jewel relies on enemy positional errors more than anything. Because she's only got that one gap closer, and everything else beyond that is a little bit more harder to pull off. A nice Suri strike.
Oh, that's not what you're looking for. Hammy under the turret, he's gonna go down. Actually, that's even a fountain coming out, and a complete disaster for Rogue. I guess I caster cursed him there, but I mean, I still believe in the Jewel.
Oh, absolutely. If you can get onto Truth after he's just used a Suri strike, you can land at least one or two of those Thunder Strikes, you're gonna hit like a truck, buddy. You are gonna absolutely shred.
That was such a disaster. Like, Valkyrie got used, the Rocket Leap underneath the turret didn't connect either. Rogue are really forcing it here. That I feel like they just need to clean up their shot calling, and maybe, you know, if you feel like you're gonna be out of position, they just gotta call it out to each other and not commit like that.
Truth does pick up the Frostburn, so there we're going to start to see the huge slowing effects on these triple melee carries. Position is really important in lane. You can see here, Rogue are trying to buy time for the turret. They have got a very quick turret shredding team, especially with this duel. They get given any sort of time on this turret, they're going to go to town with it. Pawn?
Truth? You say pawn, I say truth, but they're going to call the whole thing off. Anything around here. Rogue looking to apply pressure onto the turret if they can apply a little bit of damage, but Truth, all he has to do is kind of catch them with that Frostburn. Delphi, you're in a bad place. Defensive Afterburn, Starplay using the Ordained to hold him in place. Bad Noja is just continuously being thrown out of Starboy. Rogue have Nova pinned down underneath this turret, but I'm not sure that Nova really care too much, besides Truth being kind of low on energy.
I think that's the main point, though. Truth can't clear these waves very quickly, and, you know, the more and more time they get... Oh,
he's stunned up, and Truth is taken down. Jewel actually, I think, picked that one up with a Thunder Strike there, so a nice play from Rogue.
Again, no energy to Suri strike. They knew they could just rush in, and, you know, that's the problem with the CP Sky. That's why you need to invest quite early on into energy regeneration, especially against the triple melee, because it is very crucial that you have the ability to land that Suri strike and get out of harm's way as quickly as possible. I'm wondering where he's going to go. He's maxing forward barrage here. That is pretty much the accepted CP Sky max now because of some of the damage reductions that took place to non-locked on targets, but I often into sort of a heavy melee compositions where I'm expected to kite often. I often actually like to max the Suri strike because you get it off cooldown more quickly, but your damage will be severely limited because of the way that the lock-on bonus works now.
Yeah, I hear you. I think he's gonna need to be able to dance around in these fights, but it's kind of like if you get caught, you're just absolutely caught. And there's a lot of ways that they can go ahead and lock him down there. So just connecting with the forward barrage could be a really big deal for them. It's also a huge jump when you get the overdrive. That last point really boosts the damage on that.
Starboy is now level 6. He has not got a Crucible online for Evil yet, so there's a small window of time where Nova are going to be safe, you feel, for the most part from these engages, and they'll be able to protect themselves against the siege onto this tier 1 turret here. Starboy working towards what looks like his own Crucible. Obviously, the Blast Tremor could be pretty impactful in these fights, so he's going to need to be able to block that up. And then I imagine Echo will be very shortly on the cards after that. You can see how much Nova are investing in anti-things, just clearing these waves as much as possible. Truth here, close to finishing up the Eve of Harvest. He looks like he's going to share the backs, but they have to be very careful about their positioning here, Humanist. If they leave it too long, this could be a turret going down.
Yeah, it could be, but Rogue has dropped down as well, so there's not going to have that pressure up in the lane, and at least it shouldn't come too fast with the clear speed back here between Truth and Delphi. Looks like Truth getting into the Eva Harvest second item, but that means it's going to kind of delay that significant damage output till he goes for that Broken Myth. We actually even saw the Clockwork, his third item earlier, being played out. What's your preference here this game?
Clockwork's going to give him the ability to kite way more often. It makes him almost unkillable, especially against this triple melee. So it depends what he values more. If he thinks that he's going to be all right with the mobility that he has, and he's going to be relying on the damage output, then Broken Myth definitely. But Clockwork just makes
big red button from downtown. Roger moving in. Valkyrie connects on to 2 on the backside. Delphi trying to frontline for his team. Fountain will come out, keeping him alive. Now Evil, after burn back, the turret still alive. Evil doing his best, throws his Fountain out at the last second. A very clean job by Evil there. And this should mean Rogue able to take this turret down. The Winter Spire connects. That's the second burst of damage coming through. 320 damage takes that turret down. Now Starboy walks forward. He's stunned up. Winter Spire is there. Truth just throwing that forward barrage from max range. Pawn is the one that's low on energy this time as Nova start to march forward here.
Yeah, Pawn with no energy and regeneration in his kit at this point in time. No batteries or whatever. Evo does get the stun.
Yeah, a nice Surrey to go ahead and dodge out. Death Mode is going to go down. Rogue cannot chase. Lone Delphi, though. Oh, he goes down from the tick damage from Pawn, the original. Pawn's like, here, take a little tasty treat. Doesn't matter if you have to bring yourself out of there. Surrey strike over the mid. Truth able to get the regen there. Connecting with the forward barrage, applying the Frostburn. It appears that Starboy and Truth are considering the chase here. Ordain lands onto Evil. They don't really have enough information to safely move forward. See, the forward barrage does connect there. Scout trap will be cleared out. Now, if that was a Nova scout trap, they absolutely pull the trigger there and go for kills.
Yeah, absolutely. And Pawn, Shatterglass paying off here, Humanist. That tick damage actually getting what people often forget that about Rhyme's kit, by the way. The tick damage is actually a pretty integral part of how he can deal damages, over time. And so I really like that, just having that Shatterglass, it really increases that damage output. There's the ultimate coming out. Doesn't get the kill.
The ultimate coming out of the weapon Jewel. Evil finds stun. Starboy's quite low. The Valkyrie comes down on the top and puts Starboy into the dirt. Truth over the top of the Surrey strike has the forward barrage. It was a blast trimmer. It had nice aim coming out of Evil, but not the intended effect. Delphi hanging out. Just let him know, hey, maybe I'm teleporting, maybe I'm not. If you want to start on this gold miner, they're going to have to respect the fact that Truth and Delphi are hanging around here. Roger taking it down. They're doing a pretty good job at this point. Delphi, it looks like he's thinking about it, but he's not going to get nice stun from Evil there at the end. 400 gold each going the way of Rogue.
Yeah, nice pickup again. They have oh, that's a 403 crit.
Yeah.
Tyrant's Monocle already out for Hammy. Got the lucky strike too, and that managed to slam down onto Truth again. Sky, not one of these carries that realistically wants to build much armor, so it's all going to be about Truth's positioning in these fights. If he gets caught out by even 1 or 2 of these Thunder Strikes, he's going down, baby. He honestly won't be able to survive. So again, like I said, he's working towards the Broken Myth here, Humanist. This is him saying that he thinks that his positioning without the use of Clockwork is going to be better. He has maxed the Surrey strike, by the way, over the forward barrage. Seems to have changed his mind halfway through to picking up points. Some people do like to put a number of points into forward barrage first before maxing the Surrey strike, but I do agree maxing Surrey strike is more important against the triple melee composition.
Yeah, I think that makes more sense here. Definitely interesting, though. We'll keep our eyes on how everything plays out as far as the next ability points going out. Delphi almost getting caught down in the jungle, playing with fire. At this point, we are almost 12 minutes in. It's 3-2. Net worth advantage does go the way of Rogue, as they were able to, of course, take down 1 turret. They got the gold mine, so they have a little bit of a lead here. I'm really excited to see how this weapon Jewel is going to continue to play out in Scoundrel, because it's starting to really hit that huge burst potential.
Yeah, he's got the attack speed now as well, so shorter cooldown on the Thunder Strike can start to slam them down more and more often. It's all about finding the right catch onto Truth, who hasn't got a reflex block, by the way. So even if he just steps a little bit too close to the Catherine, even if he gets caught out by a root coming out from the Rhyme, he will go down in an instant. It's such a risky game, and Truth relying specifically on his ability to outplay his enemy at this point in time with little to no barrier for success.
It's a very bold move, Scoundrel, to not pick up the reflex. But I mean, one of the things I'm thinking is the reason he's not doing it is because he's been behind in CS this entire game. Like, Truth has actually been quite a bit under-farmed at points. Now he's catching himself back up here. Hammy does still have the lead, but Truth just feeling like, dude, I need to have this damage output. Otherwise, it doesn't matter if I'm able to survive with one reflex.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Delphi right now is a peel machine for the Sky. He's never going to be, instantaneously threatening one of the enemy carries. He's literally there to either reposition or isolate a target for Truth. It's all about the Truth game at this point in time, a little bit like it was with the Celeste. He is going to still got the healing flask though, so item-wise and slot efficiency, he's kept that up. The healing pretty important. There's the ultimate. They're zoning away.
Evil does have the Echo. We'll keep our eyes on that gold miner.
Immense gold payout collected.
Immense gold payout, 309 gold each. So just stacking up money in the bank at this point. And Hammy hitting like a truck. I mean, even Lone Delphi on the glaive, like if he overextends, it's just gonna take like 2-3 basic attacks, two thunder strikes. This glaive will go down. But Truth will absolutely get shredded.
Yeah, again, no armor against the Jewel means you've really got to rely on your dodging skills for the most part to bait them out. It's a pretty significant gold advantage at this point in time because global objectives all going in favor of Rogue. But Nova look like they're playing the turtle game, just trying to do a classic old TSM, trying to get towards the late game. As you see, the reflex block now picked up for Truth, and he's picked up another crystal bit here, which to me would just say that he's not going towards that clockwork build that we sometimes see on Skies. No, sold it, boys. It's going towards the clockwork build that we sometimes see on Skies.
Trolled.
I got trolled by Truth.
Oh, it's all right. We all got trolled. My brain started working. I was like, oh, what's the call? What's the play here, Truth? And of course, Truth just having a little fun here. They're not flame minions. That's not the afterburn you were looking for. Delphi. Gotta be careful. He did pop his Aegis off there. Evo. Quite a bit of damage coming out of Truth with Ford Rush. He's got 6 broken mistacks at this point now. Sky is definitely at a point with the broken mistacks. You have to be careful if you get yourself out of position. You get caught with the death from above, which is going to come up in just a second here. Pawn's actually going to boot back. Rogue find himself in a bad position. Stun will catch Evo on the edge. Death from above splits Evo off. One blast from a couple of Evo throws the fountain, stays alive. Hammy's he's in. He's on target. He's onto the Sky.
He's doing some damage.
He's able to get one. Now on the backside, Delphi. He's getting chopped down by the Rhyme. He's able to afterburn over the wall. A big red button coming out wild from Hammy, but Rogue just absolutely turning it around. And Kieran, right there was the power of the weapon Jewel. You want to play games? Let's go.
He had the boots up as well. He jumps in, has the reflex block, runs straight at Truth, who felt that he was untouchable. I gotta say, Starboy maybe a little bit late to the trigger with that fearsome shade. It might have been used to greater effect to try and peel Hammy away instantaneously, but my goodness, that damage coming out shows you exactly why you have to always consider where a CP Jewel can actually land. They shred through the Kraken. It is a weapon power Jewel. It is a weapon power Jewel after all, and they shred through that Kraken. Oh, now it's all on the defensive for Nova.
Dude, okay, how about a round of applause for Evo as well? Like, he evaded that one out. Waits self-fountain just at the last second, stays alive, lands a blast trimmer as well. Oh, Thunderstrike, 482 damage coming out. The turret just gets melted here. Big red buttons are just style points. They're just like a little tickle ability that he can throw out, but it's kind of playing mind games at this point. He's just throwing it off cooldown, sometimes clearing out some lane minions, but Rogue marching down, choke point turret, dropping low. Evo finds the stun. Rocket Leap over the top side. Truth, 3 strikes, 3 position. They're doing a good job. So turret down. Kraken's going to be losing quite a bit of health, and I'm be surprised if Rogue really does actually hang around here. Not just the Thunderstrike. Fearsome Shade should completely cancel that correction off.
Yeah, he used the original Fearsome Shade to disengage for Truth, echoed it out to allow them to take down Kraken. Kraken for 2 turrets. It's what we generally consider about equal between the 2 teams in terms of gold income. A little bit of an advantage going over to Rogue, but they also have the ability to open up that choke point now. They've got opened up more of the map. They've allowed themselves to expand into into the Nova side jungle as well, and that means that there's a lot more pressure on Starboy to maintain that vision control. And you can see in terms of item slots, he's really holding on to that healing flask. And how interesting is it, Humanist, that we are seeing a lot of these players hold on to healing flask for a very long time in these games. You know, we're getting to 15 minutes and players still have it in their inventory. We know it scales up so well. It's a scaling healing item, but you know, Starboy prioritizing it over a scout trap placement, you know, slot.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bold move, but it's an incredibly good item. He'll have to be careful about that, though, as it could come back to bite them in the butt here. Maybe also the point that he's not able to actually get out on the map to apply scout traps down for vision. So at this point, Flare is the big priority, having something to keep himself alive. And I think also the fact that the Batiste is just really not the tankiest of captains.
No, absolutely. Gives him that shield, gives him that healing, allows him to find opportunities to cast that fearsome shade, which is going to be so influential. The problem with not having scout traps, though, is you're always playing blind on the map, so you've got to be using those flares on almost every brush to make sure that you aren't getting caught out by a face check. And, you know, you quickly run out of those if you're flaring every single brush in the game. And you can see Starboy already gone through 4 and realistically hasn't really advanced the team up the lane or even into the map a little bit too much. And with Kraken spawning in the next few seconds, you know, you almost feel like Nova are going to be pressed to do something here.
I feel like we're going to game 3. I'll be real surprised if Rogue aren't able to end this one. Someone's about to get murdered. Hammy has double Tyrant's monocle. This is where Jewel is just a whole bunch of fun. And we'll see how this is going to play out. Nova cannot afford to get caught out. So much pressure on Starboy to connect with these fearsome shades, to block off blast trimmers as well. And we'll see if they can do it moving forward. You know, anyone, what's crazy here is that we've almost like forgotten about Pawn the original. He's 2-0-1. He has a very nice build himself, a huge threat. There's just so much damage coming out of Hammy and control out of Evil.
Again, like, you know, Lone Delphi's gone for a breaking point here. Feels like he's going to be playing the sustained war game against this Rogue lineup, which is interesting because if I was Delphi, I would have said, Sora plays enough. I'm going full defense. I'm here to peel exclusively for Truth. You know, and all of my sort of win condition would have been placed on Truth himself, and everything that I do as a glaive would be specifically there to help peel for him and get the jewel away from him, or, you know, find targets for him to set up for the lock-on with the forward brush. Look how quickly this Kraken's going down though. My goodness. Can't let this go over. It feels like it's going to be a 1 game if this goes straight over to Rogue.
Weapon Jewel's pretty good. They're moving in here, but with a slight delay, they're going to be too late here. Pawn drops a Valkyrie. They're able to zone Nova out. Very nice job. The Blastomer connects onto 3, and Hammy moves in, just going full ham, living up to his name. Truth kiting back with that forward brush. They have to respect it. Respect it, boys. The broken min stack Starboy stunned up, chopped down, and this is Truth against the world. Truth, show us your mechanical abilities. If Rogue give you the opportunity, Rogue will move forward. Evil finds the sun, and Fury Strike is there. Winterspire comes through, big red button, and he turns around, but Pawn takes the kill. It's an ace for Rogue, ladies and gentlemen. They'll be marching forward and looking to close out game 2 here.
That's a big old goodbye from Nova as Rogue secure their 2nd game in the series. There was so much relying on just a single member of the Nova lineup to actually be able to carry this game that it made it very difficult for him. You know, you had to play specifically around that win condition, and if one foot was placed out of a position, if you missed one reflex block, if you missed one fearsome shade, if you allowed Jewel that opportunity to get in there, it was going to result in a bad time, and you saw that Truth didn't have that perfect position necessary. His team wasn't able to peel for him at the utmost level, and you know, there you go. He got shredded every single time.
Yeah, well, we haven't got to see any Ozo Scoundrel, but we got to see some Weapon Jewel, so I'm quite happy about that. But to go ahead and break this one down, let's go ahead.